Hi guys, and welcome to your daily tarot reading for Wednesday the 6th of April 2022. Thanks for joining me. I want to use the patch tarot for today's reading. Let's see what these cards have to say about Wednesday and what energy is coming up for you. So I'm just going to shuffle these cards a few times. Then I'm going to choose three to see what the day is all about. So let's have a look at what that is. Right, so the first card is Spirituality, the Hierophant. Supportive, the Queen of Discs. And Endurance, the Nine of Wands. Okay, so the message I'm getting from this straight away is that with the Hierophant, as it is in this deck, you may feel like it's you against the world, that no one understands you, that human nature is toxic and why bother? That's very positive. But these two cards then say you can turn that experience around in many different ways. One, by connecting on a spiritual level, you can get the support that you may not feel from other people. Secondly, you can meet people and connect with others in a way that actually does feel supportive. And if you have a negative view of, if your expectations have become negative through certain experiences in life, like if the last 10 applications didn't go through, then when you do the 11th, you'll be like, oh, well, this isn't going to work out anyway. And then you put less effort in and it becomes kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. So if you maintain a positive mindset around other people's circumstances that may have disappointed you in the past, you will be able to flip that by 180 and experience the opposite side of the coin. And endurance here, even if things seem to be challenging or you've got a lot on your plate at the moment, by going through the motions, and not only going through the motions, but trying your best and seeing what opportunities you can make the most of by working in your own independent way. It's kind of a process of proving to yourself how strong you are and that you don't need to embrace these negative ways of thinking, these faulty beliefs, or preempting a situation by saying, well, it's going to go badly anyway. You're able to find the strength within, to look at circumstances that aren't guaranteed, and to say, I am going to try again, and I'm going to see if this works out. And then on this day, the message is sooner or later, if you take that approach, something or someone is going to work out in your life. And then it's much easier to change your perspective around and to integrate it because you're now having a different experience. And that in itself is proof that those negative beliefs are no longer valid. Okay, so a lot. The Hierophant is this spiritual leader. Here we've got the little patch figure at the front holding a candle and shining the light, reading this book that is enlightening her. And then behind her is a much bigger figure which is connected to all these different symbols and chakras and ways of believing. So it's very inclusive. And it's kind of like, it doesn't matter what book you're reading. If it connects you with your higher self, then it really doesn't matter. The thing that does matter is this personal relationship you build with something bigger than yourself. And that then is something that takes a real interest in your life. So the message I'm getting is that the universe is conscious. It does care about you. And if you work to strengthen that relationship, you're making the best friend you could ever really have. Because this positive force here at the back, it's bigger than you and it's all-knowing, and it operates in every different area of your life. So by checking in with this higher self or the universe or this sense of love, whatever it may be for you personally, that then gives you the answers to certain real-life problems, and it gives you a sense of being supported and strong in all areas of your life. We have all the different colors of the chakra system here. So if the thing that's a struggle for you at the moment is the root chakra, so your practical circumstances, work, or it's communication, or it's a feeling of being out of control or not being able to speak your mind, or loneliness or feeling disconnected, whatever it may be. Listening to the wisdom of other people is one way of doing it. Finding something that gives you a personal sense of connection. So the Queen of Discs, for her, walking around in nature is a spiritual experience. For others, it may be, lighting candles at a concert, or turning the torch on your iPhone, holding it up at a concert and shining that light and feeling a sense of unity because everyone's doing the same thing. So working with your personal church, your personal spiritual practice is very important today, because it creates an easy connection with your sense of spirituality, and it doesn't feel abstract. It feels like this big, supportive, big brother is standing behind you and is going to help you in whatever area of life you're trying to make progress in. Here, by the way, I was thinking that this morning, I really need to learn the Hebrew symbols, because it's not just in this deck that they appear. In a lot of other tarot decks, they have these symbols. If anyone has a good resource for learning these, please put it in the comments. I really need to get on top of that, because I'm missing something by not seeing what this word means here, because it's going to add something extra the same way Taurus does. Taurus in astrology is a fixed earth sign, which is about your practical circumstances, work and where you live and your housing and the environment, what it looks like, very similar to the Queen of Discs. So that adds this huge message to this card. If you connect with your higher self, then it's going to give you information that's going to allow you to write the book yourself rather than to just read it in a practical way. So you can write the story about your job, about your career, about your finances, or where you're going to live. So this is very freeing, because it translates into practical info that you can use to change your real life circumstances. So usually the Hierophant is very much about getting the answers somewhere, but the message today is you already have the answers, and the important thing is to connect with that feeling of love and strength and resilience, and that then allows you to transform your practical circumstances. So rather than feeling disempowered, or like you're stuck, or you have to maintain this status quo, you can totally reinvent it here on this day. So that's real freedom. Okay, next, the Queen of Discs, the Queen of Pentacles, she rules the element of earth. And let's say this whole environment was a total wasteland a few weeks ago. When the Queen of Discs shows up, she can design it to make it beautiful and loving and rich for everybody else. So she may have put this waterway in, and now we've got this river running through, and little fish is happy, the flowers are starting to grow. We've got a little cactus there and some sort of temple situation. And that's all because she has a vision for her environment. She's holding an astrology chart here under her arm. So it's the same thing. By looking at her spiritual strengths, same as this card, but in this case using a practical tool like astrology, she understands what she's good at. She then says, hey, I get to redesign this environment here. That's my real talent in life. Let me do it. And ta-da, look how gorgeous it is. So spirituality supports you. Certain spiritual tools and principles support you. And again, they immediately translate into practical action so that you can make your life better, whether it is work or relationships or the way you feel about your body or where you live. So the answers today come from different directions. Make sure you listen. It's kind of interesting that she's got these maleficent horns on, because can she really hear? That's kind of interesting actually, because she's not listening to other people so much. She's listening to the inner voice, and she's listening to something she's worked with on her own to prove to herself where she's skilled and where she's an expert. So that says muffle out the noise, differentiate between what's useful and what isn't, which you're not going to have a hard time with. And then the key thing is to jump into action to make it happen for yourself. And then finally, endurance, the 9 of Wands. Usually that's a young man in front of a wall of wands, and he's got a bandage on his head, and he's been through something difficult. The worst is behind him. He gets through the tough times by choosing one thing that he is good at rather than trying to perfect everything. So it's about letting go of perfectionism and saying, I have one particular skill, something where I naturally feel I'm very gifted. And by using that today, I can create circumstances which support me more. So it doesn't matter if you're a genius at maths, or if you're a shoe designer, or if you're a mystic. Whatever your talent is, even if it doesn't seem very practical, use that today to change your circumstances or to find a way to use it in the physical world. That's what's going to allow you to leave the difficulties behind, to burn away all the tough stuff. We've got all these wands on fire here, so they're going to be turned to ash. So by focusing on one thing, we've got the moon here that makes you feel nurtured and supported, and also that feels like it's a natural talent that you don't need to be overly educated for, or that you don't need to acquire from outside sources. It's something that exists within you already. That's going to allow you to make progress, to lighten the load, to kind of get rid of your burdens and the sense of being bogged down with too much. And then most importantly, you're able to use it as a bow and arrow and kind of catapult yourself into your future, which seems much richer, or which is much richer. And that's based on your vision, your dreams, your hopes and desires. Also with endurance, obviously don't give up at the first sign of difficulty, and see that for what it is. When you find your niche, or when you find the right way forward, then all these other problems that seem so important and that seem to be so oppressive, they burn away, they fall away, and then you've got nothing but sky above you and you feel completely free. And the fact that he's green is the only way he finds his inner strength to have that endurance is to be honest with himself and to say, what value already exists within me? And in my experience, sometimes the things that we're good at aren't the things that we want to do. Like, I remember there was a comedian years ago. She was an amazing comedian, but she never wanted to be one. She wanted to be an actress. And that didn't work out, but the comedy stuff did. So she listened to the universe and said, hey, there's something here. People are laughing at my jokes. Why not do that? So it's this willingness to be flexible and adaptable to what the universe is telling you and to work with what it's providing you. And to have that faith that it's there for a reason and it will lead to a good outcome. Yeah, like, that famous drag queen RuPaul's Drag Race? He wanted to be in a rock band. And then one day he dressed up in drag and everyone went nuts over it. And he was like, oh, well, there's something here. So let me keep doing it. And look at what that's turned into. And that has benefited so many other people. That's destigmatized so much for other people. So sometimes the universe does know best. And that's the kind of statement that I used to bristle at for years and years. And as soon as I heard it, it's like, oh, really? That's why I've been reading all these books, because the universe knows best? What? So sometimes, let go of the grip, and see what's being presented to you. Often that works out much better. 9 and 1 is 10, and 5 is 15. 1 and 5 is 6, and 6 is a temporary opportunity. So you've got your maleficent ears on. Maybe they make you hear even more clearly, but you're picking up on a frequency today that you haven't heard before, and that gives you a major opportunity in your real practical life. So jump on top of that and make it happen for yourself. I hope you have a great day. If you'd like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on Book Your Reading to order your reading with me. In my personal readings, I use the tarot, astrology, and numerology. So if you have any questions about your life purpose or work or what's coming up in future, then please do get in touch with me for a personal reading. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Please hit subscribe and share the video online. Have an amazing day, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.